Hello and welcome to another episode of Moonshot Nutrition. My name's Addison, and today I want to talk to you about endurance. I know this seems like a really odd shift for me to make, but I've heard a lot of crap about endurance. That's not really true, even by really good endurance athletes. And make no mistake, if you're doing some sort of endurance event, don't worry, you don't want me on your team. You just don't. And yes, I've done a lot of things concerning pretty decent endurance, 100-mile bike rides, several Tough Mudders, but none of that really proves that I know anything about endurance, just like it doesn't prove that cross-country runners actually understand anything inherent about endurance. All we really know is they're probably pretty good at it, or they just enjoy doing it. Let's talk about what you actually need for endurance, what produces it, how to maximize it, even supplements you can take. The first thing you need to understand about physical stamina with respects to any sporting event. Nutrition is key. And the good news here is you don't have to do anything special. I know we hear about these runners that do these massive carb feeds the night before, and it turns out the science for that was always pretty crappy. You will sometimes get a benefit if you do a slightly carbier meal before your whatever it is you're about to do, but you can't superinflate your muscle cells with extra glycogen, okay, aka extra carbohydrate storage. You can't do it. And please don't believe the myth that creatine is going to hugely change your endurance. It might have a mild effect, but it won't do much. Things that will help your endurance, better B vitamins will help your endurance. But again, most importantly, it's actually the sleep you got the night before, and it's going to be how well you have had general nutrition and general hydration. And again here, feel free to look up Tim Noakes' research on overhydration, but let me tell you, if you're drinking, several gallons of water a day, whatever it is, that's not helping you either. Remember, if you're drinking water with no salt in it at all you're doing is thinning out your electrolytes. That's not going to help. So every time you drink water and you're an endurance athlete, there needs to be electrolytes in there. Chief among them needs to be sodium. Do not be afraid of salt if you're an endurance athlete. You need it. I guarantee it. You need it. Even if you're not a heavy sweater, you need it. Okay? So just kind of deal with that. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what endurance is and what you can do to help your training for it. Now, some people respond better to heavier amounts of training. Some people respond to lighter amounts of training. What I can tell you is this. What seems to work universally is you don't want to do just a bunch of really long cardio training all the time. There are benefits to doing endurance cardiovascular work for longer periods of time. But where we actually see the best results comes when people mix what is called HIIT training, high interval intensity training, with the occasional longer bout of endurance. So maybe a 6-mile run or a 12-mile run. Okay? So basically it's sprints of one type or another, followed by longer endurance runs occasionally, once or twice a week. And you do as many as you can while still fully recovering. If you're going to do your next bout of cardio, whether it's HIIT training, which only takes 20 to 30 minutes, which basically means you do all out, everything you can, sprinting on a bike, on a track for 30 seconds to a minute, then you rest until you can basically recover your breath enough to kind of start talking again. Then another 30 seconds to a minute, all out sprint. And you do that for anywhere from 3 to about as many as 6 rounds. That's HIIT training, or high intensity interval training. You do that and then you intersperse longer periods of training. And we've also found that you don't have to actually train the full length of the race you're going to run. I know that sounds weird, but you really don't. Usually half to 3/4 is all you need to train up to. Here's why I tell you all of this. People that get too much oxidative damage from their training will actually lose out on their highest level of endurance. Okay, so be aware, if you're having trouble recovering, you're probably not improving your endurance much. You need to be fully recovering from your endurance training to actually get benefit from more intense training. If you're not, you're just proving how much work you can do and how much hell you can put yourself through. Now, a few quick things about diet. Actually, just one. If you wanted to try a ketogenic diet, there's actually really good evidence to suggest that for extreme endurance, there is nothing better than a ketogenic diet. There's really good evidence for this, but you're probably going to want to read a book about how to ketogenic diet. The art and science of ketogenic diets for athletes, or high-fat diets for athletes, is probably the book you're going to want to read that really explains how to do this and apply it to endurance athletes. And it's actually written by a couple of PhDs that figured out how to do it and did it themselves, so it's really cool. Or you can try, Keto Clarity by Jimmy Moore. That's also a really good place to start to understand how to do the ketogenic diet. But if you're a serious endurance athlete and want to improve it, look into that. That will maximize your endurance past any other dietary paradigm. That much I can guarantee you. Now lastly, I did mention supplementation. Here's 3 supplements anybody can take the day of, whatever the race is, to improve your endurance. Number 1, liposomal vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams. Number 2, alpha-lipoic acid, 300 milligrams if it's regular alpha-lipoic acid, 100 milligrams if it's sodium R alpha-lipoic acid. And number 3, astaxanthin, 5 to 10 milligrams. The reason this stuff works so well to improve your performance the day of is it severely reduces the oxidative damage done by your work done by whatever your endurance competition is. But here's the button. By the way, there are guys that do this for things like the Ironman and whatnot. Trust me, this is one of those fun little secrets most people don't know about. But here's the thing to remember. Don't do it all the time. Don't do it for your training sessions. You want the oxidative damage so that you can get the hormetic effect that stresses your body to get better. Okay? If you're not doing that, if you're taking these things before every training session, your body's not actually going to get that much better. Okay? So again, don't use that cocktail before the competition. Only use it for the competitions. Don't use it for your training. My name's Addison. That's all I got for you today. This is Moonshot Nutrition. I hope this helps. Please take this knowledge and make the world a better place. Bye-bye.